what's up? Slime here. I've been waiting a while, but here we are. Let us get into our newest episode of Traumolgia, where we look at things on YouTube and elsewhere which we consider to be the strangest of the strange. And without further ado, let us explore yet another anomaly. This anomaly is not so mysterious. We'll be looking at scary moments that occurred on the Fox animated sitcom King of the Hill, which is one of my favorite cartoons of all time. What with Hank teaching a lesson to Bobby and even the audience and all of his boing Dale and whatever bizarre thing he's up to, and Peggy. God damn it, Peggy. But anyways, it was a great show, I tell you what, with lessons to be learned in each episode. Maybe you aren't an asshole and the people around you are just idiots, and you can't deny nothing is better than a freshly mowed lawn. And god damn it, Dale, you don't mess with a man's lawn! Considering this show was made by the same creator as Beavis and Butthead, it was bound to have some freaky moments. Some of these moments we'll be discussing today. Without further ado, let's get right into this. In the episode, Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret Hill. Peggy takes up a job as a Catholic nun, desperate for a teaching job. Not being a real nun, she is not only criticized by Hank, but she also fails to answer the questions of her Catholic students. Eventually, the guilt gets to Peggy, and she has this nightmare where a gigantic hole opens up in the middle of the classroom floor once Martinez pulls a switch on the wall in the shape of a cross and drags everyone to hell. Martinez starts pushing kids off a cliff, and Peggy begs him to stop. Miraculously, he does, just as Hank shows up with a few propane tanks. Because, you know, propane and WD-40 are the solution to everything. That's a clean burning hell, I tell you what. The kid had scared the shit out of me, but now I think it's fucking hilarious. I mean, at first it's dark enough, and then here comes Hank with the propane. I guess if you watch this at a young age, it's scary with Martinez pushing those kids into hell, but as an adult, now legal smoking age, it's burst into laughter when Hank shows up. Next. So going on the theme of nightmares, Hank also had one that was pretty fucking disturbing, and even crazier than that whole hell sequence. I only ever saw the scene once as a kid. For a while, I didn't watch King of the Hill after. Even my sister was a bit off-put. No, not that one. It occurs in the episode The Man Who Shot Kane Skretberg, where Hank and the gang go at it with some teenagers playing paintball. In the episode, Hank is annoyed with these teenagers who do things like play loud rock music and mock him when he tries to tell them to stop. These teenagers later challenge Hank and the guys to paintball, which they lose. They play extremely overconfident and end up being captured and executed by the teenagers, which causes some serious humiliation for them. After this, Hank is sitting in bed with Peggy and he starts tripping. He has this Rob Zombie-esque flashback of Kane and the gang mowing him down in paintball. Jesus. It's very reminiscent of the peyote trip from Beavis and Butthead Do America. For that reason, this whole sequence is very entertaining. However, when I first saw this scene out of context as a first grader, I couldn't feel anything but extremely disturbed by these faces, especially Bobby's. His green face is particularly horrifying, a big reason why I may include it in the thumbnail to this video. This is the episode Texas Skill Saw Massacre, where Hank takes up an anger management class. The thing that started the whole predicament to begin with is an incident in Hank's yard where Hank is sawing a board with a circular saw. Dale comes up and starts talking shit to his face. He ignores Dale, but things take a turn for the worse as Hank mistakenly saws Dale's finger clean off. The fact that he cut Dale's finger off was shocking enough, but there's a bit more to this one. The story is then flipped around, and all of a sudden, Hank is being made out to be a terrible person and has to take an anger management class by court order. Till then, he has a restraining order from Dale. If I would have seen the finger part as a kid, I probably would have shit my pants. And then all that bullshit that Hank has to deal with because of how Dale chose to go about it, that could happen to anyone. Hello, Slime here. I'm just reminding you to hit that subscribe button for me. Thank you. Howard is briefly discussed and shown in a flashback by Hank. In Season 1, Episode 4, Hank's Got the Willies, featuring Willie Nelson. When he's talking to Bobby about role models, he tells Bobby he'll end up like Howard if he continues to play as a Game Boy and not look for a true role model, such as an athlete. In the flashback scene, Hank gets up to use the bathroom, where this encounter occurs. I'm about to bust. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought this was the bathroom. Oh, good lord! Jesus Christ, Hank. I don't think video games are the problem here. Are you overthinking much? The episode Pygmalion, where Luann starts falling for the rich CEO of Larson Pork Products, Trip Larson, who, fun fact, was voiced by Michael Keaton. In the episode, Trip is revealed to suffer from a few mental disorders such as schizophrenia. It's a rather interesting episode, and one of the darkest in the series. One thing surrounding the episode is the supposed original ending. At the end of the episode we know of, Trip is demolished by the machine off-screen and presumably turned into sausage. According to this alleged rumor, the original airing showed Trip's dead body hanging around on a hook as the episode ended, but the footage you see on screen is a recording of the original airing of the episode, and no such thing happens. He does plenty of disturbing shit in this episode, and if you're interested in knowing more, check out the episode yourself. Our last entry for today comes from the episode King of the Anthill. In the episode, Hank's lawn becomes annihilated by fire ants thanks to Dale. Also in the episode, Peggy is visiting Nancy and heads down to the basement to grab a bag of sugar, and she discovers that Dale has been releasing ants into people's yards. And then she tells Hank, who is fuming and set on kicking Dale's ass.
Dale!
Ah! Oh, man.
Dale, you went too far this time. Come back here. Come here. I'm going to kick your ass.
No! No!
I'm going to kick it harder if you don't come over here.
You shouldn't have fired me. You know what I'm like. I'm capable of any crazy thing.
But my lawn, Dale, you don't mess with a man's lawn.
Meanwhile, Bobby is letting ants go next to the fence, and they all crawl onto his body. As Hank is trying to kick Dale's ass, they're interrupted by Bobby, covered in fire ants. This image of Bobby covered in ants is pretty disturbing. He could fucking die. But lucky for him, Dale opts in and saves his life. The ants instead nearly killed Dale. Personally, I am not scared of this. The whole sequence of Hank trying to kick Dale's ass is just hilarious. But some people I've asked were utterly disturbed by this frame of Bobby covered in ants, and it is a pretty freaky sight. I mean, they're gonna kill this boy. He ain't right, but he doesn't deserve to die. And good on Dale for redeeming himself in the end. And that's the end. Thanks for watching my video. I'll see you again next time.
Ta 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 ta.